welcome back, everybody. We rejoin our group, having followed a trail of blood to a broken window, uh, seemingly dead ending in an overgrown patch of what used to be a garden that's now turning into a wood.
Well,
what do you want to do, gang?
I would like to head down towards the path that is directly visible from this window and see if I can pick up the trail of blood over there.
All right. So just pop out. You're popping out the window, going out the front door.
Popping out the window.
Popping right out the window. Okay, and you make your way to the path. I'll have you make either investigation or survival for me, and if anybody wants to help, you can do it with advantage.
Somebody gonna help me?
I mean, I'm good at investigating.
I'm good at survival, so take your pick.
Let's do survival. So that one was only an 11, but that one was a 21.
Okay. Yeah, with a 21, hopping out on this path, it's there's been a lot of plant growth here over the past 24 hours, and a few people coming back and forth, establishing a barricade, getting a first glimpse at what's been going on. You are pretty confident that whoever left this trail of blood did not exit the building here and did not head down this path. But you catch a glimmer of something in the woods off to the southeast, near the edge of where this patch of gourds growing up around the building, it transitions into this scrubland becoming forest.
Well, no sign of them here, but I do spot something over there. We should check it out.
Carefully.
Right.
Always careful.
So,
I didn't mean to cause offense.
we open up some more maps here.
Maps?
Yeah, I need to remember where my stuff is in this city that I made up. Right, now, just to orient a little bit, since it's been a while in real life time since any of us have been to Crystal Harbor, Broxl's Brews, where you're currently at, did not used to be surrounded by wood. It was pretty near the shore in the old port, largely abandoned section of the town of Crystal Harbor. Seemingly overnight, like Broxl's herb garden has exploded into a little bit of a forest, and just having caught a glimpse of a patch of this growth that, with your very well-tuned ranger senses, expertise in tracking, you can see there's a few snapped branches off into the woods that are roughly at shoulder level here, one on the other side, and if you were to kind of compress them into a two-dimensional plane, it would look a little bit like the outline of a person. So somebody has traveled through here, making more or less a straight line towards the river.
Well, someone's heading to water, and they're being pretty, hasty about it.
There's no indication that it might be Broxl?
I don't think I know Broxl. What's he? How big is he?
That's a good question. DM, how big is Broxl?
Broxl is quite a large gentleman, little bit over 7 feet tall, lizard folk, very broad-shouldered.
Oh, he's larger than I am. By at least a foot.
It's quite large. Did you say these were at my shoulder height? Where these are broken? Is there anything higher up?
Little small baby.
I'm 5'5". So.
Small baby.
So if these were in fact by Broxl, I would expect they'd be like 2 feet higher.
Make a nature check for me.
Nature check, you say? Ooh, 22. Got
22. You notice, you're thinking, you know, this, if this was Broxl, these should be snapped off higher. There should be more of them. It should be a bigger silhouette left. It's weird. You notice that some of the plants now are even noticeably taller and more grown out than they were 15, 20 minutes ago when you got here. Not by a lot, but a little bit. They're growing very fast. And trees and shrubs and things like that grow from the top, not from the trunk. Like all the new growth comes out of the top. It's not like the roots don't push up the trunk taller. So it could be, depending on how fast these were growing, when somebody was pushing through here, that was as tall as the plants were at the time.
Well, then, by my estimation, either these trees were only branching out at this height at the time that Broxl came through here, or it was someone more recent who is not quite as large.
Well, this does seem to be our only lead. We
That was
might
my
as well
thinking
follow it.
Whoever it is, they're connected to this.
Well, lead the way then.
All right.
I'm not very good at sneaking up on people, if that is what we're trying to do.
Oh. Anyone know off the top of their head of Pass Without Trace's concentration?
I don't know.
Okay, I can look it up real quick. In theory. Where is my browser?
It is concentration up to 1 hour.
Okay. Well, if you think we need it, I can help you all be a little bit stealthier, or you can follow a bit behind me in case there is something that we need to get the drop on.
I can be a little bit quiet on my own. Most days.
I cannot.
Well, why don't you trail behind a little bit then, and I'll take a scouting position. Just don't lose sight of me.
I will try not to.
Ooh, this could be fun.
This could be fun.
It could be.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna stealth ahead and try to... I'll track, but I'll like kind of scout ahead a little bit to...
Okay. First, do a stealth check for me, and then follow that up with, let's say perception. We can keep that survival from earlier.
Okay, so that's a 19 for stealth.
Not bad.
And perception is going to be an 18.
Nice.
Yeah.
How far are you hanging back, Cam?
That's a good question. How much of a... I feel like, is there like a weaving path? She might stay just enough to like let him go around a corner and then like catch up with him, sort of thing.
Where Lyris is going, there is no clearly cut path.
Okay, so she stays enough behind him that she could either hear him or just catch a glimpse of him.
All right. Just for fun, you make a perception check for me. And I'm going to say, Lyris, will be assisting you with this, so you can make it with advantage.
All right, that was a 4. 20.
Okay. Yeah. This Lyris fellow is pretty slick. You keep thinking you've lost him, and then you'll see some glimmer from his scales coming off of it just from behind the bush, and you're like, there he is. And this you keep just far enough behind him where you can barely keep him in your vision. And Wade, what are you doing during all this?
So probably trying to stealth along with Lyris here.
All right.
That's not a good number. That's a 7.
Did you cast Pass Without Trace?
No.
Okay. Okay.
If I did, my stealth would be way higher.
Cool. Good to know. You follow a trail of snapped branches, and as you get a little bit further into this newly sprung up copse of trees, you can see that it likely is the case that whoever was plowing through here was doing so while these plants were actively growing very, very quickly. The further away you get from the shack, or the potion shop, the higher up some of the snapped branches seem to be.
And did you relay the information about them, the difference between you relayed that information about the plants growing?
Yes.
Right? Could I make an estimate based off of, like, the growth, about perhaps how long ago they came through?
Yeah, I'm gonna say just make a straight up intelligence check for me.
That is a 22.
22. It's kind of hard to say for sure since you're not positive how fast they were growing. You can only kind of estimate how fast they are growing now. And if you do take any time to stop and like keep an eye on how, do you take any time to stop and keep an eye on how quickly the plants are currently growing?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably thinking about it.
You can tell that the growth is slowing down. They were growing a lot faster at some point. You would guess maybe some point last night.
About how far away would Lyris be after slowing down to check the plant growth?
How fast you going, Lyris?
I would suppose 15 feet per round.
I'll say he'll probably get about 60 feet away from you in the time it would take to just very quickly determine this. If you wanted to take more time to get a more precise estimate, you could do that.
He really wants us to be lost in the woods.
Hey, I mean, that's up to y'all.
No, I should probably try and keep up with the party. Would Cam have caught up to me by then?
Oh, I would think so. Cam may have even passed you at that point.
Yeah,
she's like honed in on where Lyris is going, doesn't even notice.
I'll probably just catch up to Cam then. I'm like, I think those branches are a bit too loud for me to follow Lyris stealthily.
And you follow this trail of broken branches, and it not too much further, you suddenly come out the other side of these newly grown trees and shrubs. It seems like whatever did this is only affecting a certain radius around whatever its origin point was.
And it doesn't taper off at all. It's very suddenly nothing.
It's very suddenly nothing. There's a few stragglers here and there on the end of it, but you can see a very distinct line at where this sudden tree growth ends. And you're actually, when you follow it out this way, you're quite close to the riverbank at this point. And, like any old city, a harbor area, there's like a quay built up around it and a sharp drop actually down into the water with some mud and rocks and things down there. And seeing no other direct place to go, if you peer down with that survival check and that really good perception check from earlier, there are still left some footprints in the mud that do not appear, that appear to be like large reptilian footprints.
Like just going up to the edge, or is there anything below, or it's just water below?
In the mud below at the edge of this quay.
Is it something we could traverse, or like is it a sheer wall more or less that we'd have to climb?
You'd have to climb down. It's not too far. It's only about, it'd only be about a 10-foot drop. Okay. You could jump it. It's kind of mucky down there.
All right. Well, he's gonna stop there for a second, and I don't see is there a direction that the footprints are going in the mud below that I can tell? Are they going straight towards water, or are they going left or right?
The footprints are going, they pretty much go like straight upriver along the quay.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll wait the few seconds for the others to arrive. Well, it looks like he safely made it out, and if you look down there, his tracks lead upriver, so he should be okay.
But why is he leaving? I don't understand.
Probably to get away from the things that we had to fight.
I suppose.
There was a bit of blood back there.
Yes, I do suspect he was wounded. And sometimes just being big and strong isn't enough to win a fight like that, Cam.
I heard that ellipses.
Well, only sometimes, on very rare occasions.
I frequently fight things much bigger and stronger than me. I've yet to meet my match.
Well, maybe you have met them, you just haven't fought them.
I suppose that's a possibility. I actually feel like I've discovered something in that fight. I feel like technique, really honing in on an enemy's weakness, striking at just the perfect moment, is the most efficient way to win a fight.
Well, I find sometimes just using a good old-fashioned hammer is the perfect way to win a fight.
I can understand why it would be appealing.
We're walking and talking, by the way.
And where is it that you are walking?
Yeah, so basically he wanted to just kind of like do one of those like one hand kind of lower himself and then drop the rest of the way into the mud and then follow his tracks, which should be easy, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is relatively easy. to do while you're walking and talking? Let's see. Maps.
I
Cool.
think Cam like lets herself down off of this thing and then also like extends a hand to Wade to see if he needs help down. Make sure that he gets down safely.
This
Yeah.
mud is gonna make my boots dirty.
But don't you have magic that cleans things?
I do. It's such
Just
a
do that as we
blessing.
go.
I think I might wait until we're done.
Just the world's slowest walk, casting prestidigitation every step.
Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation.
Right. Yeah, you follow the footprints in the mud up river for a while. Have everybody make your choice of a perception or an investigation check, please, and let me know which one it is.
My investigation at 19.
Investigation. Let's see.
Perception at 6.
Perception at 9.
Nice. Wade, you notice that these footprints that you're following are becoming the classic like three-toed kind of like reptilian raptor like footprint that you were following is slowly changing as it progresses further down. Every few steps the toes are notably less splayed out into this claw and slowly coming closer together into a more, I guess, humanoid traditional foot shape.
Good. Am I would I have had experience with anyone who's I guess Wade is wondering whether or not someone like cast like a spell to transform them into a lizard folk, and if that spell is slowly coming undone, or would I know if it just like immediately comes undone?
Make an Arcana check.
Arcana. That's a 22.
You are definitively not familiar with any sort of magic like that would wear off slowly over time. It's probably possible, but none of the standard transformation magics of which you are familiar would do that. They just you're done.
Well, whatever's happening here is not of magic. It's either not magic or not a magic I'm familiar with. This is definitely strange. I'm hoping it's still Broxl's footprints that we're following.
It may not be. It may be an impersonator.
Are either of you familiar with anything that could cause this?
I did once track a criminal who was particularly difficult to find as they were a shape changer.
Are you familiar if shape changing is a slow transformation process or if it's immediate?
David would I know that?
Make a shape changer check with advantage. What kind of roll do you think that would be to know that?
Oh, probably nature, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'll say, but you have fought one of these people in your backstory, so make it with advantage. Why not?
Well, it didn't help much, but that is a 13.
13. Yeah, every time you saw your quarry transform. It was a pretty quick process, but also had a very high degree of control over the nature of the transformation. So somebody like a changeling could slowly transform themselves if they wanted to, just kind of like change a little bit, stop, change a little bit, stop.
Well, I suppose it would be possible for them to do it slower, as it's more like a muscle contraction as far as I can tell. But the one that I took down did it very quickly.
Well, maybe it's them that's hurt, though. I wonder if that would slow things down.
Could be. I don't know. Do the feet remain bare as we follow the tracks?
No, they remain humanoid.
I was definitely going to make the joke if you didn't.
But yeah, it does not appear that anybody is wearing shoes.
Okay, well, at least we're looking for someone with muddy feet and no boots for the time being. Of course, they could find some boots and put them on, but their feet should still be muddy.
Show me your feet.
Go around Crystal Harbor demanding everybody take their shoes off.
It's like the opposite of Cinderella.
Just shoving everyone over and pulling their boots off.
Yeah, you continue to follow these tracks up, and there's a little bit of variation in exactly how muddy it is, but the further along you get, they also seem now to be getting a little bit deeper, although as though the weight of whatever was leaving them had been increasing. Let's say, you follow them for about 10 minutes up the river, and you come to a dock that's one of the many docks on this side of town that sticks out into the Cayana River. And the footprints continue under it. You keep going?
It continues under the dock?
Yeah, so the dock is like sticking out perpendicular to the coast, and whoever was walking looks like they walked underneath the dock.
Yeah. Yep. Don't see any reason to stop.
All right. Yeah, there's, this is now you're passing into an area of town known as the Ore Docks. The river off to the south side of town runs up into the mountains, and those particular mountains yield a little bit more ore than they do anything else. The docks on the north side of town, that district known as Gem Pierce, the mines at the top end of that river tend to yield more gemstones and things like that.
While they're walking, I think Cam, her eyes sort of brighten a bit, and she turns toward Wade and she goes, "Oh, I just thought of something. I could send Broxl a message to see if, one, he's the person we're following, and two, that he's all right. So that does leave me without some of my magic in case we find another strange tree thing."
I think it's a good idea. Is that like one of your lower magics, or is that like a higher magic that you need?
It does take a lot out of me. It's on the higher end, I suppose.
I mean, we are trying to find Broxl right now. That's what we're currently trying to do, right?
That is the important thing, though. It is very limited in the response, so if he doesn't respond with anything useful to us, that is our only shot, at least for today.
We want to know A, if he's okay, and B, if he isn't okay, where is he?
It's very straightforward. she's gonna keep walking and following them, but yeah, Cam is going to again just kind of like tap on um her holy symbol on her neck, and she's going to say, was it was 25 words. She's going to picture Broxl in her mind and go, excuse me. Broxl, this is Cam. We're looking for you. Are you all right? If not, where are you?
Oh, I lost count.
It's under 25.
Are you? This is sending.
Yes.
Can you make a spell casting check for me with advantage?
Like using my spell. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess wisdom plus proficiency.
That is a dirty 20.
A dirty 20. Yeah, the spell. The message flies off, and it takes a moment, and you almost think it doesn't find purchase on its target, but then you can feel that it did. Let's see. What is he going to say in response?
Things David didn't expect me to do.
Let's see. And you can hear. Actually, I need to look. One moment, please.
Neto, por favor.
He's actually with Mrs. Broxl, and I interrupted.
What languages does Cam speak?
Ooh, that's Celestial, Common, and Elvish.
Okay. You get a response back, and it's a little bit strange because the spell sending doesn't like super care about language. It cares more about concepts than anything else. But you get back a reply, and it's almost like two different people are talking to you saying the same thing in two different languages at the same time. And
That's concerning.
Yeah, a little bit. Here with but overlaid on top of it, dominant is Broxl's voice definitively. Says, up the Cayana River, Ilathi's forest, injured, left for everyone's safety. Do not follow me.
She immediately stops, and she goes, I got something.
What is it?
This is Cam would know that this is the river he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was strange. It felt as though I was being spoken to by two people at once, but I could really only pay attention to his voice. That's not something that spell normally does. Anyway, I do think that we are following him, but he said that he left for everyone's safety and that he's injured and we shouldn't follow.
Well, we know this thing is parasitic in nature.
Oh. You think he's been taken over, like he's hosting something?
If he was at the epicenter when it all went down, that would be a likely outcome.
But perhaps there's still some of Broxl in him, and he's worried about us also receiving whatever happened to him. He said he was in the forest, right? Is what he said. Yeah.
Yeah, specifically the one that is south of Crystal Harbor.
He said he was in the forest just south of here.
It's not south of where we are, right?
The majority of the forest, Elathi's forest that he referenced, is south of Crystal Harbor, but it does, like, if you follow the Kiana River up all the way towards its headwaters, it does pass into like the northernmost reaches of the forest.
Right. Like we're heading west and the forest kind of goes west and then up north.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if we follow this path, we will hit the forest, which is where I expect he'll be. And I appreciate that he's trying to protect us, but we may be the only ones who can help him deal with whatever that is.
Oh, I really wish I didn't use that sending.
Well, if you didn't use it, we wouldn't have understood what the situation was.
That's very true. I also need to prepare certain magics anyway to potentially help him. Does that mean that we're going to follow against his wishes?
We were charged with dealing with this matter, and as long as he's carrying something from it, it's not dealt with.
She looks at Wade and says, what exactly were we to do? Were we just supposed to find Broxl, or were we supposed to deal with what was happening at the shop? Or was
So-
look into it all you got?
Specifically, the instructions you were given from Mulberry, the satyr wizard, was that they needed someone to like go in and check out what was going on in the shop.
We were supposed to investigate, like, was basically what happened at the shop. I mean, we have a general idea of what happened.
That's true. If you...
The question is whether or not we want a more specific one. Without really talking to Broxl, we don't really know what happened to all of the Skelgi. Whether he still has some, whether it was all used to create whatever happened. But at the same time, it appears that whatever transformation led to the rapid plant growth, there seems to be a similar transformation happening to him.
Oh, what if
based
something?
off of what you told me.
Yeah, what if something terrible overcomes him, and then we'll have another situation to deal with?
For all we know, he's about to become that creature at the center of it all. Then
One thing that concerns me is that, he was already, a large lizard folk. But if you look at these prints, like the prints are deeper now, even if as he's transforming into some sort of humanoid. So he's gaining even more mass than he had before.
Oh, I wonder then if he used some sort of magic to transform so that he wouldn't cause any alarm as he was going through.
My guess is that whatever's happening is happening against his will, as an indirect or direct result of experimenting with the Skelgi.
That sounds reasonable to me, and my analysis is that the threat is not contained yet. And first and foremost, my charge is to protect the people of Zemali.
Well, before we go back into another potential battle, is everyone all right? You can tell that Cam's kind of like beat up a little bit. She took a few hits in that fight.
I took a little bit of damage from that last fight. But I mean, I can't take a whole lot of damage in general. I'm just, this very fragile, as he broadly gestures to himself.
I'm pretty resilient, but if you're not at your best, maybe a rest is the best thing to do.
Well, I was just going to cast some healing on myself.
Healing that could affect all of us, or?
Unfortunately not if I want to, actually, unfortunately not, she says.
Then don't worry about me.
Okay, she's gonna cast Healing Word on herself.
Okay.
Might doesn't do a lot, but it is something. That is 7. He is looking a little refreshed.
I will cast a healing word on Wade as well, while we're at it. It's not much, but it should help you. Try to stay out of direct combat if you can. That's gonna be 5.
As always. That's exactly. I feel perfect. I feel perfect now. Thank you.
Oh, that was all it was.
That's like almost a fifth of my hit points.
Wizards, baby!
Please don't hurt me.
Level 1 wizard can be one shot by a single hit from a house cat.
Well, now that we're all feeling better, let's press on. I would prefer not to burn any more of my magic if I can avoid it.
Agreed. I suppose no use in being stealthy if we know where we're headed.
Well, hopefully, he's still at least somewhat himself when we get there, but if not, maybe getting the drop on him would be best. So if this was a friend of yours, maybe you don't want to even consider that an option at the moment.
Well, I wouldn't consider him a friend per se, but I do feel somewhat responsible.
I feel like at least one of us should engage in conversation before assuming the worst. Although I don't even know what sort of magic you would need to undo whatever's going on.
We have no idea what's going on, so all we can do is go in and assess for now.
So I think Cam would then just kind of take a regular pace, not trying to trail behind until they get like closer to where they're going.
Yeah, assuming that we are able to come upon him in a way that we spot him first, Lyris may try to stealth out around and just be poised in case things go horribly wrong suddenly.
All right, sounds good. So if you are looking to get to the outskirts of Ilathi's forest from here, you're probably looking at the better part of maybe 6 hours of hiking.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I'm burning spells anyway then.
If it's gonna take us that, I mean, we might need to rest at some point.
What time of day is it?
So let me see. You had just come in on the river barge and like come straight here. So I believe it should be like early afternoon,
It seems about right.
maybe around lunchtime, a little bit after.
But we have 6 hours of travel to go. So maybe we should go as far as we go until darkness hits and then take a rest.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, at this time of year, if you can keep up the pace, to pretty not like running or anything, but if you hustle, you could definitely get to the edge of the forest before nightfall.
Yeah, it seems like a good place for them to set up camp anyway.
Yeah. Let's aim for that then.
All right, are you going to continue to try and follow the tracks or just book it in the most direct manner towards the forest?
I think it still makes sense to follow the tracks if we can.
Okay. Yeah, so you continue to follow the tracks underneath the ore docks. You get a couple of looks here and there from fishermen and people unloading boats and things like that, because it's not a super everyday sight where a group of heavily armored adventurers and a wizard come running through the muck underneath the docks. But underneath the sort of central dock that sticks out the furthest into the river compared to all the others, the footprints take an abrupt turn away from the shore and head out underneath the length of the dock into the water.
Ah. Well, he crossed the river, it would seem, which will make picking up his tracks difficult, but at least we know he's on the other side now, and not just in the branch of the wood that's ahead.
How far across is the river?
It's at this point, it is a pretty wide river. It's a few 100 feet wide at this point. There's a narrower point a little bit of a ways up. It's still fairly wide, but there is a bridge near a watermill a little bit further up the river if you're looking for a terrestrial crossing point, but with our two fishmen here.
How are you at swimming, Cam?
I feel like I could handle it. It might be a little bit tough. Cam is good with athletics, but
you're also clad in armor, though, right?
Yeah, I'm carrying a bunch of stuff. Would she? I'm trying to just figure out. Would she know that that's not a good idea?
You're wearing the kind of armor that gives you disadvantage on stealth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that will give you disadvantage on trying to swim. It is up to you whether or not you think Cam would put that together.
I think Cam doesn't really piece that together, but then she's like, "Oh, there is stuff that I don't want to get wet, though. Maybe I could just meet you guys on the other side."
And would you like to fly over the river?
Cam's eyes kind of light up, and she's like, embarrassingly, I hadn't thought about that because she can fly. Only for a minute though. So, oh,
Yeah,
actually,
that'll definitely clear the river for sure.
she used her radiant soul thing already. And she just kind of looks at Wade. Are you offering?
Yes, I can touch you, and then you can fly for up to 10 minutes.
That is a lot longer than I'm used to flying on my own. Will I have like wings?
I don't think so. I mean, we can. Do I know if you? I guess we could flavor it that way, right, DM?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
your spells can
have
look
wings.
pretty much however you want.
You can have wings if that would, if you want to fly that way.
So can you make them like glittery?
Absolutely.
Okay. And she just holds out her hand, like unsure of how he has to touch her.
I'll just place my palms atop yours, and
I'm making her kind of check for me, Wade. See how you can shape these wings.
Well, that's a 13.
Yeah, they're wings. They're glittery.
She is happy, and she is going to she kind of takes a minute to figure out how to use this, and yeah, she'll follow you guys across the river like that.
Lyris is just gonna dive straight in right where the tracks lead, and more or less try to swim straight across and see if he can pick up the tracks on the other side.
Yeah, easy enough to do. There's a little bit of boat traffic, but you can breathe underwater, and you have a swimming speed, so no trouble whatsoever.
I like being a Triton.
Comes in handy. Yeah,
Water walk.
it's pretty quick swim.
Underwater, he just looks at Wade and he's like, "Are you getting cold or are you okay?"
He just glares at you. One of these days, you'll wish you were resistant to acid instead.
Get a vat of acid on him.
It's probably true, but
There were some vats of stuff that were probably acidic in Broxl's shop if you want to go swimming later.
I imagine being resistant to cold is, more useful in overall.
it suited me well so far.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in our natural environment.
He just glares at you again.
Wait, is a tropical water genasi?
He's used to warm climates.
Like a blue tang, some leaf fish. Great, yeah, so y'all, without any issue, are able to get across the river. And on the other side, have a series of perception or survival checks to see if you're able to see if there is a trail even to pick back up.
Yeah, that's another good question. Maybe he swam up or down river. Oh boy, who knows?
Oh, and Lyris, you can make a nature check too.
Okay. Well, my survival was 12. And my nature is 4. Oops.
That's pretty good.
What was your perception, Fal?
That's 12 as well.
12.
So no different.
Cool.
We're too busy talking about being resistant to cold and acid.
Yeah. You'll come back out on the other side of the river, and there is no immediate set of footprints that's apparent here in the mud. You've never met this fella. that you're tracking, Laris. You do know that a lot of the reptilian species can swim. Some of them can breathe underwater. Some of them can hold their breath for a really long time, even if they can't breathe underwater. So maybe he swam up the river. Maybe he got out somewhere else. But there's no footprints here for you to follow.
Well, my instinct in this moment is to continue upriver on this shore in hopes that we encounter more tracks. And if we don't by the time we were planning to stop, then we'll just have to go into the woods and search.
All right.
Is everyone okay with this?
You're
Sounds
better
good
at
to me.
this sort of thing than I am, so follow your lead.
Okay. So taking point on guiding here. Cool. There is, once you get far out of town from Crystal Harbor, particularly on the south side of the river, there is no more real like road to follow. It kind of just devolves into a little more of a trail than anything else. But fortunately, the river is real big and easy to see, so you can follow that no problem, especially if you're sticking pretty close to it. But after about an hour of travel, Wade, you receive a message.
Oh.
And you recognize that it is from Mulberry. Wade, are you all okay? We can't find you. You never came back from the shop.
Remind me, can I respond to message?
You can respond to this message.
I don't think. Okay, I will say, there was some sort of monster there, but we couldn't find Broxl. We're trying to find him. In the forest.
Huh? You say that.
Sorry, I was only half paying attention to your response there. Did you express that we dealt with the threat at the shop at least?
I implied that we dealt with the threat.
Okay, fair enough.
Actually, you know what? After another moment, another message comes in. That's good. I'm glad everybody is okay. I wish you would have checked in before you all left. May have been able to help. Please keep me posted.
Apologies. I was concerned for Broxl's safety.
And at least for the moment, there is no additional message that comes in.
Keep her posted. I don't have that capability.
Okay. As you travel west along the southern bank of the Cayana River, is there anything you'd like to keep an eye out for other than your search target?
I think
Or
I'm
anything-
probably pretty focused on trying to find these tracks, so watching out for threats may have to be delegated to someone else.
Cam will take point on that.
Sounds
Maybe.
good.
You got a 13
Well,
for
actually,
perception.
I'll say, since we're doing this over the course of several hours of travel, you can use your passive if it's higher, or
Which is 14.
There you go. And Lyris, can you roll me a survival, please?
Sir, let's throw in the cup this time. Oof, bad call. 9.
9.
9.
9.
9.
Yeah, so you travel up the river for a few hours, passes, just focused on looking for tracks, looking for footprints coming out of the river, not seeing anything. Cam with an eye to the woods, well, first the countryside and then the scrubland around you. As you pass beyond the boundary of the area directly around Zemali, or not Zemali, I did it again. Crystal Harbor. I was doing so well, you guys. Heading up the river, closing in on the farming village of Jasper's Grove, which would be north. Can't quite see it from here, but it's about where you would be. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 6 miles west of Crystal Harbor, the forest starts to grow up on the south side of the river. And
yeah. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you if you would like to keep going. It's been about 2 hours.
At this point, Wade's looking real shifty, and he's gonna go up and tap Lyris on the shoulder and say, I think we've clearly lost his trail. Trying to search the forest with as much, ground as there is to cover, I don't think it wise to continue. It might be better to go to regroup in Crystal Harbor and see if the other people there have any way of tracking him down.
I suppose that does make a certain sense. I don't often give up so soon into tracking something.
We're not giving up. We're delegating the task to someone who can search in a different way.
Well, like I said, I understand. I just have concerns. If this thing overtakes him, he becomes a threat, and further to the south is Looseby Hollow, and there's no telling what could happen. And I know it's a could and not will. But see, my family, before I lost most of them, instilled in me a sense of responsibility to the people of this region.
I understand that, but we've lost our lead. The question is, how long are we going to continue spending trying to find it again? Or if we could make up time by seeing if someone has a magical means of tracking him down.
Well, I may have a way to assist magically as well. Sorry?
In what manner of way is that?
Well, he's in the woods, and I can speak with the creatures of the forest.
Okay, how much time do you want to spend doing that before we backtrack?
I don't know. I'm conflicted. Do you think that the people of the Hall of the Weave, can track him faster than we can?
Given that we know he was headed towards the forest, and that there are magical means of tracking people. Because we've gone like 2 hours trying to search for the footprints along the shore, right on the other edge of the river.
Thereabouts, yeah.
I mean,
And
we could be 2 hours out of direction, like, he could have gone the other way.
so, based on the response that Cam got when she messaged him, he had at least a 6-hour head start on you if he was currently in the forest, which was what it seemed like he was indicating, that he was either already there or soon to arrive.
Mm.
Hmm.
So he was somewhere in the forest. 6 out, like,
Yes, I
more than
understand.
6 hours ago.
This is what I do, though. I follow, I track, I patiently search for clues. I find my quarry always, eventually, sometimes days, sometimes weeks. But I understand it's not the most efficient use of time.
Yes, and the main thing that we were there to do was to assess the situation and determine what led to, the whole incident. We had enough information. We just wanted to make sure Broxl was okay, and if we could get more information from him. I think. Oh, Cam, did you have?
Well, I suppose I wonder if we go back, then what? What do we do then? We just don't pursue this anymore?
We ask for help from the hall. We say, hey, we know roughly what happened here. We do know that Broxl is not okay. We don't know what happened to Broxl precisely, but based off of what happened at the shop, whatever happening to Broxl could lead to more damage later if we don't contain it.
Hmm.
I suppose if nothing else, it will give us an opportunity to negotiate for resolving that conflict. Still. David, are there like visible or audibly birds around?
Yeah, there's all manner of woodland creature, an occasional squirrel, some birds flying.
Okay. Then I would like to cast Speak with Animals.
Yeah.
And as I just tell Wade, okay, give me a few minutes.
You glance around looking for some woodland creatures to potentially talk to, and there's like a little wren sat on a branch, off a little ways that you can hear chirping.
Excuse me.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Well, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing just great. What
I was wondering if you could help me out with something. I'm looking for someone who may be in a tad unnatural of a way who might have entered your forest.
Oh yeah, it seems pretty unnatural to me that you can talk to me. What's that about?
I commune with nature on occasion.
Weird.
I grew up speaking to fish, so it's not that weird.
So this fellow, what's he look like? And yeah.
Well, he was a lizard man, very tall, scaly, reptilian. But he's undergoing some sort of transformation as far as we can tell. He may even be bigger, but he's more shaped like me now, I think.
Big guy, green guy, rope coming out of his butt, that sort of thing.
Rope coming out of his butt? Quite.
Yeah, he had like this.
Oh, like a tail.
Sure.
I hope it wasn't an actual rope.
He got into the rope stash. He was hungry. Yes, I think that might be him.
Oh yeah, there's somebody like that swimming up the river. It's a weird looking guy. I kept away.
He swam further upriver from here.
Oh yeah, he was going pretty fast.
Really?
Yeah, hey, you got any seeds?
That's a good question. I probably do.
Just like straight to business. You got any seeds, man?
I would expect that, at least in some of my rations, there's probably dried seeds or something, right?
Yeah, like granola or something like
We
that.
definitely have granola from hanging out with Anath.
Yeah,
That's true. So I'm just gonna grab a handful of granola and hold it out to him.
Oh, sweet.
Take as much as you want.
Flies down and like lands on your wrist. Hey, this is a pretty good stuff. But yeah, when somebody like that was going up the river,
You haven't heard anything more about what he's been doing or how far up he came out of the river?
Hey, when you're as big as I am, you don't get to your third summer by following after weird shit, all right?
In your case, that's probably true. I'm in my 49th, and I do it all the time.
Jeez. 49. I had a cousin who said he met someone who was that old once. I didn't believe him.
It might have been me. You're not the first bird I've spoken to.
I'm just very now interested in the nuts and seeds in your hand.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna continue walking now. So here, he just kind of like slowly dumps some out on whatever's clear enough to not have it roll away.
Sounds good. Yeah, just to deposit a little pile of granola on the ground, and the bird is very much enamored by it.
Okay. Heading back to the other two. So my bird friend over here says that he was swimming upriver at an incredible pace. So we haven't passed his tracks yet.
You spoke to the bird?
Yes.
Oh.
You shouldn't be so surprised. Anath spoke with the animals all the time.
Well, I know, but you seem surprised that he actually understood Little Joe, so I just thought that was strange.
Well, he didn't cast a spell first, and that threw me off.
Oh, I suppose that would.
But yes, I have magic to commune with nature and other things.
Oh, well, so what would you like to do with that
I don't know. At least I know we're on the right track. So both options are still viable.
We could always split up.
I've done this alone for a long time. I could track them and then send word back by bird, perhaps.
This bird shows up. Hey, and we're just like, what?
I'll send him with a written note.
Just like makes a nest in your hair cam.
Wade sort of just like shakes his head at the notion of splitting the party. He says,
he was alone when we found him.
If we don't really have great means of communication to find each other if we do split up.
Well, I have
And
birds, and Cam has a sending spell.
You do need to rest.
it takes a lot of magic for her to cast that sending spell. So and we don't know how many sending spells it would take to, regroup. Or how many birds going back and forth.
I see your point.
We know the general direction he's headed.
Does your
Well,
whole weave have means to transport us faster upriver?
Would I assume that, David? I'm sure they've got some sort of.
Yeah, there are people who know how to teleport and things like that. Most of the teleportation you've experienced or been around there has been from a dedicated circle to another dedicated circle. You know that it's possible for someone to zap you anywhere, but that's not without risk and would likely be quite expensive for you to purchase that service.
They might have that ability, but yeah, it's not really in our not.
All right. Well, we have different opinions on how to proceed. I think maybe we should yield to Cam to decide.
Oh. Oh. She's like, I do suppose that we could have more information if we go back to the city. I am concerned, though, that we are this far out and the time that could be wasted. I'm pretty sure there are civilizations around here. So if something goes poorly, it'll take us that much more time to come back here and help them.
That is also my concern.
It's all very difficult. Personally, I would like to rest. I mean, if we are going to take the time to go back anyway.
You'd want to rest now before heading back.
I think we should rest, and that would give us opportunity that, say, if in the next 8 hours something terrible in the forest happened, we would be right here to deal with it. But also in the morning I could reach out to Broxl again to maybe gauge a little bit more information on where he is. And if he's unwilling to cooperate since he doesn't want us to be following him in the first place, then we might as well head back.
We still need to get back with the sort of let the hall know what we're up to. It's because it's been 3, 4, or however many hours since we were originally over there.
And then I suppose we've missed our window to get the statue back today, which is another urgent matter that we came back for.
If we are heading back, I would actually suggest that we do so quickly. We do it at a quickened pace. We're heading downriver, which we may be able to do so much faster.
Okay. Well, let's head back then.
All right. I truly hope that we're not walking away from something terrible happening.
Like
That is always the hope.
Sorry?
What were you gonna say?
like a giant.
Y'all causing all kinds of trouble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we have anything particularly buoyant around that we could like stick Cam on?
And you're
Floater.
only about 3 hours outside of town on foot. You could spend a little bit of time fashioning a raft if you want. I'd say nothing like immediately on your person that would be an acceptable boat, but there's stuff nearby that you could fashion one out of.
Got a 10-foot pole and a portable ram, but I don't know how long those would be.
Do you have like a big bag? Because I've got gust of wind.
It's the whole way.
I mean, the two of you have a swimming speed, right? You could just take a little rope and tow it.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is like but like building a raft might take up the amount of time that we would save doing that anyway.
This is true.
All right, let's just head back down the shore at like double time.
Yeah.
And then we'll just cross the bridge when we get to it. I didn't mean it.
But
It's like, this was not a metaphor.
No, I mean literally. There's a bridge down there.
Yeah. Easy enough to hoof it back. You've been following kind of a little path through the woods. You know, you're not super familiar with it, but it's easy enough to follow. It was relatively easy to traverse terrain, no major threats. You know, you're not expecting to be on the lookout for, like, I don't know, mountain lion or anything. So yeah, you're able to hoof it back to town pretty quickly. By this time, let's see, it's probably about, yeah, with the hustle, you're probably getting on like 6 p.m. about now. When you come to the bridge just on the south side of Crystal Harbor.
All right, well, let's go meet up with your mulberry friend and discuss what we have figured out at this point.
Hey. How far away is that?
Well, that depends. Where are you going to try and meet up with Mulberry? The last time you saw her, she was staffing the cordon that had blocked off the road around Broxl's Brews, which is to the east. The Hall of Weave is directly north from where you are, each about the same distance from your current position.
We keep ending up equidistant to everything. Nothing's ever on the way.
Well, yeah, the Hall of Weave is a little bit further away. Not a lot.
Let's just go back to where we were and then go to the hall if we don't find Mulberry there.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, so you hustle through the ore docks, back through the old collapsing wall and abandoned guard towers that separate the old port from the rest of Crystal Harbor. And it is easy enough to find your way back to this great big tree that sprung up in the middle of town. Approaching it from this angle, this is, a different angle. This is now like the third angle you've approached from, and the radius of whatever effect this is seems to now, you're pretty sure, has extended out equally in pretty much every direction from the center of Broxl shop, and hasn't actually grown up that much more from the last time you saw it. Like, the plants are still alive, the plants are still growing, but it seems like they're just, whatever was fueling their acceleration has worn off or left or whatever. It's not affecting them in the same way presently. And you hustle on over to the blockade that had been set up, and things seem to have calmed down a little bit. There's fewer onlookers trying to gawking at what's going on here, and traffic seems to have been allowed to resume, although the specific area around the shop is still cordoned off with some people standing guard, one of them a familiar looking satyr.
Mulberry. Mulberry.
Wade, you're back. You're back. Did you find him? Is he okay?
He had at least a 6-hour lead on us.
Oh boy.
And he was traveling upriver, so there weren't any tracks to follow. What's that?
You know where he was going?
We don't know exactly where he was going.
Cam kind of leans in and says, well, when I spoke to him, he didn't want anyone to follow him. And he did say to her that he was like in the forest, right?
Yes.
Or yeah. He said he was in the forest, but I mean it's quite large.
Did he say, you don't know, he's going to the forest, you know why he was so keen to get out of town? It seems like, I've been into the shop now. It looks like someone was severely injured in there.
He was injured, he said. And he also said that he left so that no one else would be in harm's way.
Based on the creatures we fought inside, our guess is that whatever that thing was infected him somehow.
Oh, yes. Actually, maybe you're familiar with this and what might have caused it. But when he spoke to me, it felt like two people were speaking to me at once.
Two people.
I used the sending spell.
Two people speaking back at the same time with the sending spell. Like you can see she like goes to some sort of like mind palace and is thinking through just studies of magic and stuff like that. Nothing. That's very strange. That's worrying, especially if he's getting out of town for safety reasons. I would think that the safest place to be for someone with the disease would be the Hall of Works.
I think he was concerned about the safety of others.
Well, not to... I mean, the Hall of Works is pretty well competent in that sort of protection regard. But anyway, I don't know. If he was injured, maybe he wasn't thinking straight, but that definitely needs some more research to look into. At least it seems like we're not going to find him around here anymore, so we'll call off the search, at least for around here.
I think maybe someone equipped with a scrying spell of sorts might be able to track him.
I can do that. I can't do that today, but I can. That's something I can take care of. I know there's a lot of other people at the hall who can also take care of that. This is not what I was expecting to deal with today.
Us as well.
Do you intend on going after him? Or should I send some people?
Rather intent on... Sorry. I was intent on doing so. We thought it might be best to come back and reconvene with the Hall of We for the time being. But if we can arrange for the Hall to cover expenses, I'd be happy to help resolve this matter.
Always working that angle.
Make a persuasion check for me. The DC's not super high. It's a reasonable request.
Well, the roll wasn't that high either, but gotta scroll. Perception?
Persuasion.
Yeah, obviously not perception. I can't read my own sheet either. That's a 14.
14 is like, well, there's no there's no bounty out or anything like that right now, but I'll see, maybe we could get something issued or a work order issued. But in the meantime, if you have any expenses that you incur, just let me personally know what they are, and I'll take care of them so long as they're reasonable.
All right, that sounds fair. Perhaps we'll write up what we need and reconvene in the morning when you're capable of scrying on him.
I think, yeah. Where should we meet? I don't.
Well, I was going to suggest that we get together some of the professors from the Hall of Weave so that we can sort of discuss the issue.
Any particular schools of magic you had in mind? I might be able to convene some people.
Oh, divination magic might be helpful.
Diviner, all right. I think we got.
What school would be close to like alchemy, or is that not a school? Is that more like a separate?
So if you're talking about like just making potions as like the kind of thing, or like the traditional, like the classical, like medieval alchemy, lead into gold sort of thing.
More along potions, because I imagine he was probably doing potion stuff.
Yeah, that'd be more like parallel to wizardry rather than a specific school.
I would say if there's another potion maker in town, that we try and get their advice.
All right, we'll get a diviner. We'll get sure, there's got to be somebody who's experienced in potions. Broxl was the best game in town for that.
Do you remember what school of magic, or was it Mulberry, who the school of magic that this plant growth sort of gave off?
I believe I did tell you something specific last time. There was transmutation, and there was
transmutation.
Yeah, there was something else, but it was mostly transmutation.
Yeah, we need someone who's proficient in transmutation, especially given the state that Broxl is in.
It is. I'm looking at Mulberry's character sheet. Okay. That is not her. All right, I think, yeah, I'm gonna... Have you told many other people about this?
Well, do we need to...
She kind of looks around and is very... She looks around as though to see if there are other people who are like listening in that aren't you, very quickly before lowering her voice and asking that question.
If she asks it sort of secretively, like, no.
All right, let's. I think maybe let's keep this a little bit. Let's keep this a little bit on the down low. I'll tell you why tomorrow. Can we meet at your house, Wade?
Fine.
All right. I'll get some people together and we'll meet you there in the morning.
I would like to make an insight check, please.
Absolutely.
Why am I rolling sixes all the time? That's a
new dice, bro.
Yeah, I gotta switch this one out.
It's kind of, and she's definitely being cagey. It's kind of hard to tell why. Not super familiar with the inner workings of whatever system she's going to have to work through to get these people assembled. But there's some reason that she doesn't want this to be common knowledge, but you're not sure why or who she might be trying to keep it away from.
Fair enough. I guess like more than anything, I'm trying to figure out if I detect guilt.
Oh yeah, you're no guilt. You're not detecting any guilt. We are going to pick up with our party heading parting ways with Mulberry the satyr, heading, I presume, to Wade's house to wait for the morning meeting, unless there's anything you would like to do in the meantime.
Definitely Wade's house is where Cam would want to go to prepare her spells, so.
I don't.
Thanks, Pat.
I don't know that I specifically have anything I want to do unless I know of a shop where we could get like a foldable boat or anything of that nature.
You can fold boats?
Some of them.
Yeah.
I don't use boats, so I never really thought about it.
Let's see. I think that you would know that a folding boat would be a little bit difficult to come by.
That's what I figured. It's fine. Okay. Then no. To Wade's house we go.
All right.
This way, guys.
Yeah, you guide everybody. I mean, Cam obviously knows where your house is. Spending many nights there.
He doesn't
But-
have a home.
Exactly.
Just like her second home.
But yeah, you travel across town without any sort of incident. It's getting on into the early evening. You enter up inside, and would you care to describe your home for Lyris and people just joining us?
I don't remember how I described it
I
initially.
somewhat remember that it was like a bachelor pad almost. Like you had like the living room and the kitchen kind of as like one room, and then you had a bedroom, I think was the situation.
Right.
And the couch is probably very visibly like taken by Cam. It has all of her stuff that she doesn't currently have on her.
So make yourself comfortable, Lyris.
Okay. Where?
Wherever looks comfortable, I would imagine that's how that works.
I do think Nath just slept on the floor when he stayed the night, so she kind of looks at the floor like as if to suggest.
Guess I'll get out my bedroll then.
All right. If there's nothing else y'all need to take care of tonight, we can go ahead and get your long rest in, prepare your spells, and resume in the morning with a knock on the door.
With that knock on the door?
Yeah.
Oh my
Ooh,
goodness.
sweetie.
Oh, Mulberry? She did tell us to come here. Okay. Yeah.
But if there's anything you'd like to take care of before that knock happens, please let me know.
I don't think so. I think I'm
Are you
good.
comfortable with all your spells that you have, Cam?
I was thinking about swapping some out. I didn't like having to have you spend some of your resources in order to help me get across the river. So I do know how to walk on the water. Like I think you did that once in the mountain.
I mean, I tried. Oh yeah, I guess I walked on the snow. I mean, it's strange. It's like
But we
I don't know whoever made the spell called it water walking.
I think specifically the thing that didn't work was trying to run up the blizzard. The snow it was fine with.
Yes, I did. I did try to. I tried to cheat the blizzard. You know, tried to walk on that, but that didn't work.
yes, but in some conditions, all of us could walk on the snow potentially.
Hmm.
I do it all the time.
So I am capable of casting that spell.
Oh, you
Yes.
could cast it on us too.
Well, it yeah, it covers more than just me. It covers up to 10 willing creatures.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as you are fine with using your magic in that way, then I suppose I will just choose something else. I was thinking that maybe having something to revive in case we do go after Broxl and he needs that sort of help. But also maybe a preemptive thing to that. Removing curses is something I can do. So I was thinking about those two things.
I'm not. Would we be familiar with the difference between like a curse and possibly what's happening to Broxl?
I'd say make an Arcana check. Why not?
Checking. I checked 12.
12. I mean, you're not sure what is going on exactly. It could be like a curse could do this.
Curse it could.
Wade is Wade is going to say, I mean, a curse could do this, but I mean,
Do you
just
think it
based
might?
on like, go ahead.
Do you think it might be more like a disease then? Because I could also get rid of those. Or magic entirely. Like, I could dispel some magic if you would think that would be more helpful.
I think that might be our best guess. What I feel the best way of describing it is probably like if you hadn't imbibed a transmutation potion of some sort, but if it was like bad.
Oh, like an F.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a spicy meatball.
That's what I imagine happened. Now, based off of our conversation earlier, it's possible that whatever hit him, whatever, injured him, could have, delivered some sort of, something could have gotten to his blood, infected him in his blood. But I mean, nothing really happened to us, so I don't. It's hard to say. He probably like inhaled or something.
Well, if it is in his blood, fortunately you have an expert at removing it.
Removing blood?
Yep.
Are you able to remove blood and then put back better blood?
No, I can only do the first part.
I see.
I couldn't hear any of that, Vix.
I said, "Oh well, we'll make a great team then. I could help put it back in."
You have restore blood prepared.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll prepare a couple of things, and she's gonna go and cross her legs on the couch, and she's gonna start very wishfully asking for the abilities that she's hoping for. Like, if I could get rid of magic, and she just starts listing them off. She probably rambles on for a few minutes for sure.
Oh, you're all preparing yourselves for the day. Wade, where's your waterfall?
Excuse me?
Oh, when I'm preparing myself to, face a big challenge, I sit under a waterfall.
I mean, I have a faucet, but it wouldn't. Would I have a shower? I don't know if that's like a thing in this realm.
Yeah, we got running. We got pipe water here.
I mean, he points to the shower like this. I'm sure this is not what you're looking for. This is this house is not large enough for a waterfall. But this is falling water.
I suppose it'll do. So Levis takes his shower. But I'm very cold.
You guys are dumb.
Colder than Wade would be comfortable with.
Love it. D&D, everybody. We walked out into the woods, turned around, and took a shower.
We're supposed to be doing something?
And I was saying before this, like, I hope Broxl doesn't die, and then we just turned around.
It's like, actually, you know what? The woods are pretty far away. I'm sure he'll be fine. I love this game, you guys. But yeah, at this point, while Lyris is in the shower, there is a knock on the door.
Suppose I should go check that. And Wade walks over to the door and peeks out.
Yeah, you crack the door open, and when you peek out, you see a familiar-looking satyr accompanied by somebody you may have seen in passing before, an elven woman, fairly young, long red hair and twin braids running down the side. Average height for an elf. Can we and Mulberry looks around her. Can we come in?
Certainly. Make yourselves comfortable.
Thank you. Do you know? And the two ladies hurry in and shut the door behind them. Do you know Riven here, Riven Fowler? Have you two met before? You haven't necessarily met before, but she's another wizard at the academy.
I'm familiar with Riven, but I don't think we haven't really exchanged any words before, other than maybe a hello.
Well, she's an expert in transmutative magics and kind of handy with a potion. I wanted to be really careful with who I brought. Are you? Where's the other one? Lyris, was it?
He's washing off all the mud and such.
All right. Well, are you? Oh, do you mind if I make sure if it's private here?
Sure.
All right. And she casts some sort of spell. It looks around the room like she's looking for something that you can't see. And yeah, that's easy enough. She casts see invisibility, and she looks around the room, make sure there's nobody else here, looking up in the corners of the room and things like that. Should we wait for your friend? Sorry about all the cloak and dagger and the suspicious stuff. I get the sense from you that you don't entirely trust Flynn. Am I reading that right?
I mean, I don't necessarily trust him.
I don't either. And neither does Riven. And I'm just trying to be really careful with who we get involved with this. So yeah, I can scry for Broxl. She's expert transmutation. But Flynn was really interested in that like goop that y'all got brought back and gave to Broxl. They met a couple times to talk about it and do some research on it. I think Broxl actually brought it up to him since it was a little bit beyond his purely alchemical expertise. And well, now whatever happened the other night happened, and Broxl's gone, and there's a tree where his shop was. So that's pretty much what I know.
I was not aware that Broxl had met up with Flynn in regards to this.
Well, and you need an expert in magic. He's probably the best in town.
Consider that.
Should we wait for your friend?
You hear down the hallway Lyris approaching, and he's like, "Your waterfall isn't very strong, but it was quite refreshing." And he like walks in and just a towel around his waist.
Lyris, we have some guests.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Lyris, Zemali. It's nice to meet you.
Doesn't back up.
Hey, Riven Fowler. Good to meet you.
I would like to note that Cam is also there in her pajamas.
Strange crew.
Oh, so this is the meeting then? You're the other wizard?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, yeah. He sits down and like crosses his legs.
Have either of you had a chance to research this substance yet?
Truth be told, I hadn't gotten my hands on any of it. I just learned about it the other day, when this whole whatever happened started happening. Flynn had sent me to go set up the cordon off and gave me kind of a little bit of a rundown on what had been going on in the shop recently. He said there had been some sort of new substance that Broxl has gotten his hands on, was trying to identify, but didn't say much beyond that. I was able to put together a few things.
Do you think he covets it, or do you think that maybe he's perhaps even behind its existence?
Flynn?
Yeah.
Dice. And she goes into thought for a moment. Hadn't considered if he was behind its existence. He's not. I don't know if covets is the right word. He's definitely interested in it, which. And that's pretty in character. There's a new strange thing. What wizard wouldn't want to get their hands on it, especially if it exhibits magical properties, you know?
So two things of note stand out to me. First of all, he didn't mention his involvement in the research of this substance when he brought the attention to me that the shop, something had happened to the shop. The other thing is, you said Flynn had mentioned to you that he was helping Broxl with something new?
Well, he didn't so much as mention it. I was able to put a couple things together. I think she does another check around, you presume looking for scrying sensors. I think I don't know. I just put some things together. Flynn had mentioned that Broxl had been testing out a new sort of substance, had gotten his hands on some sort of new compound, just in the lead up to debriefing me on what had happened. But he also, I had seen Broxl come to the hall. I didn't think much of it. He's kind of in and out sometimes looking for equipment and supplies. But I had, when all this had gone down, and Flynn had mentioned the substance, and I started checking some records. I chatted with Cecil. Broxl had come to the hall the previous day to meet specifically with Flynn. I might be making some conjectures here. They don't normally, they're not buddy. It's kind of weird they don't hang out. So I don't know. I don't trust the guy. That whole, no offense, how much his opinions on necromancy are very different than mine, and I think most people's. And I know that's your area of expertise.
I mean, I don't take offense to it. I'm shadowing Flynn by learning necromancy. That was sort of my in.
I see.
Just based off of, if Flynn mentioned Broxl was testing something new, I don't feel like he was trying to hide knowledge about this. I feel like if he didn't want anybody knowing that, he was involved in something like this, he probably wouldn't have brought it up.
Well, I guess that's true. That's probably true. Maybe he slipped. I don't know. I hope I'm not reading too much into it. But I think, moreover, we have some scrying to do. I think.
It'd also probably help if you had a sample of this substance.
And at that, Riven chimes in, says that would be very helpful if you had any of that I could look at.
We still have some amount of it, right? I think we gave it all away.
Did you give it all to Broxl, or does Anath have it?
Anath has it.
Would Anath have all of it?
I mean, Cam doesn't have any, so if you don't.
I didn't write it in my inventory, but I don't know if that was just because I don't know.
Hey, if you've got some in your inventory, then you've got it.
I do not.
Okay.
There was some at Broxl's though, wasn't there?
Something like it. You didn't specifically investigate to see if it was the same stuff, but at a cursory glance, it was similar.
Well, it's probably worth investigating there, considering we were almost certain that was at the center of whatever happened.
And the two of them kind of look at each other and nod. So we'll run by and get a sample later. I think, is there, and this is Riven speaking. Says, do you know any of its properties? Where it commonly, where did you come across it the first time?
So I would start relaying, because we called it Skelgi because we fought those skeletons where they were sort of covered in it like armor, right?
Interesting. Yep. That was your first encounter with it.
The Silverleaf Winery.
Yeah, I would relay that information to them. If we're mentioning the winery, that's also where we saw that strange crystal as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Given the fact that they're probably going to go to the winery at some point, I'd be like, the Skelgi wasn't the only strange magical thing we came across at the winery. There was also a peculiar crystal formation that also exhibited magical properties.
Wade tried to channel his magic through some of the crystal, and it made him look super amazing when he did it.
Interesting. There's something is going on here. Yeah, I agree. So I hope you don't think I'm, putting too many pegs up on a corkboard and putting strings between them here, but we got the attack on Silverleaf Vineyard where some of Flynn's skeletons that he animated went rogue. And now you're telling they were covered in this sort of slime stuff that seems to have exploded and perhaps severely injured Broxl. And now I'm here. Maybe did you tell her about the transformation? I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
I think we alluded to it based off of the two voices.
Mm-hmm.
I can chime in saying while we were following Broxl's trail, his footprints were slowly transforming into more humanoid footprints with a heavier set, as if he was putting on more mass.
No, the common thing here, and this is not a lot of events to go off of, but one of the common things here is Flynn being involved in some degree in all these things, and this slime stuff. I don't know if he's causing it. I don't know if he's just interested in it. You know how some of them, and I guess I can count myself among them now, but advanced studiers of magic can be secretive on their projects, so maybe that's just what's happening. I should give him the benefit of the doubt. He is my boss. All right. And you can see she's very, very conflicted about wanting to jump to a conclusion that Flynn is up to something and is trying to maintain objectivity, but may or may not be doing it so well.
What would you suggest that we do? Where should we direct our attention that would be most helpful?
Well, I think I can answer that if I scry on him.
Would you like to get comfortable? Will you do that?
Yeah, I think so. There's just enough space on the floor here. She gets that down. And do you mind if I set up a ritual circle on your floor, Wade?
Go ahead. Stranger things have happened here.
Like what? Says the fishman in the towel.
Well, it's a rather long story. I'm sure I can.
A meth exploded here once.
As a rather strange
cleaned up
thing.
properly. Sorry, David.
Are you though?
A little bit, I guess.
All right, I'll take it.
Not as much as I should be.
That's fair. I respect that. So, Riven and Mulberry get to work setting up this ritual circle here. and Mulberry casts a spell, and her eyes kind of roll back and go white. She casts her vision out, and you can see just like a look of surprise comes over her face. And after a moment, it's like lots of looks of inquisitive looks, eyebrows going up here and there, kind of looking like she's trying to looking at different sides of things. And she comes back. You might be onto something with that transformation. Whatever I just scryed on was not Broxl.
What did it look like?
It kind of looked like, I guess it looked like him. Large, powerfully built figure, but he was sitting on the ground, leaned up against a tree, and it looked like roots had grown up over his feet. He didn't have scales. Looked like they'd been replaced with leaves. It looked like a great vine was growing out where his tail was.
Oh.
Butt rope.
yeah, both Cam and Lears look at each other. It all makes sense now. The butt rope.
Are you? She just kind of looks at you quizzically. I guess that's one way to describe it. But
I'm broken.
Aren't we all? I think you're on. That didn't look like him. It has to be him. I specifically had him in mind when I cast the scrying, and it doesn't work like that. You don't get different targets than you want. It's either you get the target you want or you don't get anything.
Well, I suppose the good thing is that it still worked.
That's what I was. Sorry, go ahead.
I was concerned that if there were two voices, then I was concerned that perhaps there was a personality trying to take over his, and if it did, then the spell wouldn't work. So I'm glad that it worked. What were you going to say, Cam?
I was going to say that that's also the case with my sending. If it wouldn't have reached him if he wasn't in there somewhere still.
I think that's the case. But this is some strange magic. What's going on here? Whatever it is, if it's not, this has got to be magic. This has got magic written all over it.
But what you saw, he wasn't active. He was just sitting up against a tree.
Yeah.
With roots kind of overcoming him.
They didn't it didn't look like he was being grown up over by roots. It looked like he was growing roots.
He was taking root.
Yeah.
See, that's my concern, is that he's becoming the same thing that we fought back at the shop.
Or at least something that's not him. And who knows how long it'll be until he's no longer Broxl.
Well, yes, absolutely. But my concern is a bit broader. How long before he starts sucking things in and turning them into plant-based zomboids that are going to terrorize the forest?
Is there any way that you think you could undo this?
Mulberries. That's a little bit beyond me. If anybody, then Riven chimes in. I may be able to. If I can't, if this is some sort of curse or a spell that's done this to him, I may be able to undo it. If I can't do it, there may be some. If this is some sort of natural magic that's doing this, there's some of the druids at the Hall of Wilds may be able to help, or we could always call on Pira Ligori from the Hall of Works if we need a cleric, if there's some disease involved. This may be able to be undone, but I can't say until we get a chance to look at it. Been doing a little bit of research on those vine infected people that you found at Broxl shop, and so far my research seems to, I've only been working at this for one night, but so far it looks like it might be disease based more than anything. That maybe it may be some sort of magical disease.
I do have something that can help with that.
Do you?
Yes, I know how to. It's not as if it's something more extensive. I'm more capable with the lesser kinds of disease.
Well, it might be worth a try. This looks like it. If this is a disease, it's not like anyone I've ever seen, and it's pretty powerful. But it can't hurt to try. But first, we'll have to find him.
Did you recognize where you saw him, Raven?
It was Mulberry that did the scrying.
Oh, right. She was the transmutation expert.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm not super familiar with the forest over there. It all looks kind of similar, but I think I could hear the river running in the distance, so he wasn't too far from the river.
Very helpful, actually. We know he was upriver from where we left. Is there any way that the Hall of Weave can assist us in getting out there faster?
Let me think here. And you can hear like, well, this is I could conjure you some sort of mount, I think, maybe if you wanted something to get you there a little faster. And Riven speaks up, said, I could just make you all faster. I can't teleport you or anything like that, but if you just want to walk real fast, I can help you out. Let's find out.
The haste.
Yeah, I'm concerned it's just haste.
It's not haste.
How
long does that last? And what is the name of the spell?
I don't know. Which spell are you thinking of?
I can't remember. It's a transmutation spell, though.
Expeditious Retreat?
That's not it. Anyway, it'll last you for a few hours, the better part of a day, I think.
B-Town says Fireball.
Yes. He's gonna cast Fireball. That'll get us someplace faster.
It's like in Super Mario 64, when you're on fire, you run faster.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That long strider?
That's the one.
Yeah, well, that would actually get us out there a lot faster.
Yeah, that'll speed you up for an hour. It'll it's not a huge amount of time, but you'll be going a good deal bit faster.
And if we go at a fast pace, that should get us back where we were in about that hour, right?
More or less, yeah.
How long can you talk to animals for?
10 minutes.
Oh. Yep, that might be a good combination. Get out in that general direction and
Well, we know that under the effects of that spell, we'd only get to about where we were, and we know we have to go upriver from there. So we get back there, we continue on. When we think we may be nearing it, I can ask the woodland creatures once more.
Well, it
Yeah.
sounds like we have somewhat of a plan.
And Mulberry kind of whispers a little bit to Riven. Sure, you should go with him. You should go with him. You're good with nature. You're good outside. They have a little bit of a conversation back and forth, trying to keep in touch. But this is kind of a small room. It's just, all right. I get. Are you looking for more company? I guess one of us could come with you, and Mulberry seems to think that I'd be the better candidate, and I can't much disagree with her on that.
You do seem like you have higher level magics, so.
Wade and Cam, can either of you make a history check for me?
What,
I
don't
feel
know
like
history?
Wade.
11.
Not this history. I mean, you can make it, but it'll be a higher DC for you.
Is
if you
it
want.
is it either, or can both of us make
Yeah,
one?
both of you can do it.
Got an 11. I don't know if that helps at all.
19 minus 2, so 17.
More than 11.
More than 11, which, and it's not too difficult of a thing to know if you've been living in town. When Riven introduced herself, it sounds, now that Mulberry has said, like, has insinuated that she knows a thing or two about being out in the woods, which is a little bit weird for a wizard. Riven Fowler, that is the same last name as Brielle Fowler, the hunt master at the Hall of Wilds. And now that you think about it a little bit, the two of them look a little bit similar.
Don't I get bounties from the Hall of Wilds?
Do you?
Yes.
Well, then, yeah. Make a history check, too.
He
You might
rolls
know
the
this.
1.
It's fine.
My
I'm gonna
bad.
play it cool.
That's on me.
Yeah, Cam goes, oh, Fowler.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of a big deal. You don't seem very happy about that.
Look, I mean, she's a little bit overbearing. She always wanted me to take after her a little bit more. But instead, I usually stay inside with my books. But, all those camping trips when I was a kid.
It's parents that doesn't let you go with the flow, huh?
And she means, she's not all bad. She's a really important person in town, and people treat you different when your mom's like almost as powerful as the mayor. So,
well, she's offered me many bounties that I've hunted in the wilds, and I don't see why you should be treated any differently as a result of that.
Smiles a little bit at that. Well, if you are looking for company, I could come with you.
More magic's always useful, right?
All right, well, I'll need to get a few things together. I wasn't exactly prepared for a trek out into the woods today, but if you give me a couple hours, I can get a pack together and be ready to go.
Yeah, I guess I'm not entirely ready either.
David had forgotten that you were just in a towel, so.
I feel like Cam hasn't, because I bet Lyris is pretty ripped from swimming for his entire life.
He's got like the perfected swimmer's bod.
His pecs have pecs.
They're called areolas, David.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm on one. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You either wanted, if you don't get your violence, we can expect that the horniness exponentially increases.
Yeah, it's got to be one or the other, right? I'm either going to be very inappropriate or very violent.
Or inappropriately violent.
Frequently violent in situations
violently
that do not
inappropriate.
call for it.
Well, Lyris is going to go get dressed.
Yeah. I think Cam just gets ready for the day too then and like wishes them off and says that we'll be here.
And Mulberry said, all right, I'm going to try and figure out if there's anything more I can learn from Broxl's shop, and maybe I'll take Cecil out to lunch and see if I can get him talking. I'll be back here in a couple hours with my travel pack, and you can go after this guy. Hopefully he's still him when we get there.
But just a clarification, this is the following morning, right?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. Didn't want to take a long rest.
Yes, you have successfully had a long rest.
Sweet. I have way more HP now.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to do to prepare for this trek to coming up? Now that you kind of you've been able to have someone scry on him and have some of an idea about where he might be and what sort of state he's in.
I don't know about preparing, but there's definitely something that Cam wants to bring up to Wade and Lyris as soon as she thinks that, they're not going to be overheard by the other two.
Yeah, so you can all say your goodbyes or your see you laters, and Mulberry and crew head out.
So I feel like we could trust them, but we also have the matter of the dragon that could potentially be getting into the wrong hands as we speak.
You're right. We should probably look into that before we head out.
So many things. Oh my god.
I feel like a quick trip to the store at least would be a good thing to do before we head out. Even just to check to see if it's still there.
Indeed. Approximately how far away is
that place?
Brilliant Bubbles. It is pretty much straight down the main drag through the street that your house is on continues on through the old wall into the old port, and just shortly on the other side of that is the building that houses Brilliant Bubbles on the first floor. You can maybe walk there in about 20 minutes each way.
You have time then?
All right. Well, is Lyris still not dressed, or is
No,
he got
he went and dressed.
Okay. So, Cam's just like, then we better head out right now, just so that we're here as soon as they get back.
Yeah, I agree.
And then maybe we can decide if they it's worth mentioning to Mulberry about these things that we found.
Perhaps we loop them in once we've resolved the current crisis and figure out if we can actually trust them.
Like a test. That's a good idea.
Though I don't think that Ryven will be an issue. She seems committed, and her mother is a very important person. And
Yes, but you know, people with magic have ways of getting information out of even trustworthy people. And if this dragon is what we think it is, then that is kind of a big deal.
So you head on down towards Brilliant Baubles.
Yep.
When you get there, it's still relatively early in the morning, I'll say. Mulberry knocked on the door maybe around 7:30. Quite an early morning for Cam. But you head down to Brilliant Baubles. You get there, say, with the talking and the scrying and the walk. We'll say maybe around 9, maybe a little before. The shop appears to be closed. I don't know if you've ever come by when it's closed before, but there are shutters in front of the windows and a curtain pulled on the door.
Do they live here?
I'd say you're not sure, although there would certainly be living space or space enough to live above the shop. This is a multi-story building where the shop is only in the first floor. A lot of the buildings in this part of town are completely abandoned, and others only partially abandoned. But this is one of the businesses that is still able to exist here.
I don't think I know these people, do I?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, they seem closed up, so either you can start banging on the door and see if they'll come down, or I could just go in and get the dragon.
We know what time they typically open. I'm sure Cam would know.
This is the best place in Crystal Harbor to get gold dust. Most shops don't post specific hours. It's usually they open in the morning and close when they get tired of working in the afternoon. But like around now would be a normal time for a business to open, or even earlier.
I'm gonna peek inside the window and see if anything seems amiss.
Yeah. The windows are pretty well drawn, but there are some cracks between like the shutters and the blind that's pulled on the front door. So make a perception check for me, and you can just do that regularly since you have Twilight Cleric vision.
That 20, baby. That's a 24.
Boy. Yeah, so you put your eye up to this little crack between the blinds, and you can see it looks like, you look inside, you see like some shelves and the big desk, like the sort of not what they call it, like the desk where they stand behind, they keep all the money and all that, and there's words I can't remember right now.
Like a counter?
The counter!
Oh my god, I was gonna say counter, but I was like,
It's
surely it can't be that.
That's what it is.
All right.
Real laundry sauce moment here, people. Yeah, so the counter is just fine. It's all the displays around there, and you look to the side, and it looks like all of the shelves have been pushed back to one side of the room in a somewhat haphazard manner. And if you look up, it looks like the ceiling has kind of bubbled up a little bit, as though something had pushed it from the bottom.
I think the dragon got out.
Lyris, you might want to go in and check.
Yep. I'm going to use my thieves' tools on the door.
And she's going to describe what she's seeing at the moment.
Make them thieves' tools.
That is 19.
19, yeah. Easy enough. You get in with this lock, ding, and it comes right open for you at the 19. And you open the door, and the scene is, just as Cam described it. Part of the building is okay and fine, but this other half, it looks as though something has just pushed everything in the shop away from a central point, including the ceiling.
Yeah.
There is no way that a dragon could fit in here. If a full-size dragon exploded from a crystal prison in here, it would have taken down the building. Like, dragons are really big.
Maybe just tinkering around with the magic inside of it caused some sort of effect.
Obviously, something happened. Like,
Hello? She's gonna call
Hello?
into the building.
Brilliant.
Bubbles.
wait, is that actually their names?
I'm pretty
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, the sign out front is the heads of two crows back to back with each other, one with a green eye and one with a blue eye. And you don't know this, Lyris, but Wade and Cam know they are Brilliant and Bobbles are Kenku.
Oh, okay.
But you call out for them, and there's no response.
Is there anything in the center of this word force?
Make an investigation check,
Alrighty.
and someone can assist if
No.
you want.
Yes,
I'm
please
good
assist
at
me.
investigation.
Actually-
I can assist you.
I should have let you do it.
You can all do it.
Pam is
Are
going
you-
to cast locate
I will.
object.
I get 14.
14, cool. Yeah, looking at the center, it looks like there is a smaller kind of bend in some of the floorboards as well at the center of this. It looks like something expanded from a point in here.
But it's no longer there. There's nothing.
It is no longer there, whatever it was.
So, my guess is that they tried to undo the binding, magical binding, and they were half successful.
Possibly it failed when it met too much resistance.
I'm guessing like it expanded to this, he broadly gestures, this size. I'm guessing it probably collapsed again. Because if it was still the size of that
Well,
area,
obviously it would either be here or there would be a hole that size somewhere. But
or there'd be more damage along that of that size. More ceiling bubbling, not bobbling, but
Because it doesn't look like anything broke through the ceiling.
yeah,
Right? It's not shattered open. It just like has started to bow up.
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying perhaps once it met enough resistance, the release failed and it contracted back into the statue. But then where are your Brilliant and Bobble friends?
And on that question, Cam, you said you were casting something.
I'm going to cast locate object and try to find if the little dragon piece is here.
What's the range on that?
1,000 feet.
I thought so. It is not here.
Oh. That's all she says, and she's like looking around, like as if looking around would cause it to like work more. 1,000 feet is pretty big, right?
1,000
Like,
feet is pretty big. That's like almost the radius is a little bit. It's like a third of a mile radius, a little bit shy of a half mile.
it's not
Kilometers.
here.
Where did you find this thing initially?
That's a story.
Was it within range of this spell?
Oh
No,
no.
no.
Did you tell
Um,
them where you found it?
Oh, did we?
I don't
I don't think so. I think
think we no,
Wade
we
was
try
being
to-
pretty like
we try
tight-lipped
to
about it.
limit. Yeah, we try to limit.
Okay.
How much
This
information.
is very disconcerting.
So, yeah, we were sent to investigate some ruins, and we found what we know to be as the special project annex. This was, yeah, this is where we also found the giant. There was a lot of things going on there.
There's a lot of things going on everywhere at the moment. Most of them seem to be because of things you guys have done.
Okay. Okay.
I wasn't going to say
Yes.
anything.
Yes. However, I think it's merely because we are adventurous that we come across more things of unusual natures.
And then mess with them in ways that have consequences you couldn't have possibly understood.
To be fair, we
That's-
were trying to understand them by leaving them with people we thought would shed some light on them.
And they may all be dead now.
It seems they did
say-
agree to it.
With your investigation check, there is no sign of a scuffle. There's no sign of blood. There are no loose feathers.
You may
Yeah,
have
that's-
a point there, Lyris. Yes. However, I mean, how do you think progress is made, right? People investigate things, they research things, and some people are better at researching and investigating certain things than others.
I understand that. I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying we're at the center of several storms at the moment, and most of them probably would have been prevented if you just stayed home. So
That's probably why we were called the Heralds of the Storm.
But also, we wouldn't be the heralds of the storm had we not gotten involved in the first place. She's like trying
you
to
are right
climb
about
it.
that. Some positives have come out of it. I just, I'm a little concerned about our affiliation at the moment.
So many incidents.
Sorry?
With so many incidents?
It would only take one person of influence to start spreading the word of the consequences of these deeds for us to all become wanted people. Despite the fact that I personally have done none of these things.
Are you saying you wish to part ways, Lyris?
I guess what I'm saying is I would wish for you to exercise more caution.
I suppose that's fair because I guess that is fair because when we met you, the first thing you did was pull a knife out on Wade.
Yeah, but you'll notice I didn't stab him.
I suppose you have a point.
These things do warrant investigation.
And I think that is an investigation, yet another mystery that the party may wish to investigate in 2 weeks. We're at 9 o'clock right now.
All we
Only
did was
7.
end up with more questions. We've done nothing. but find more problems.